Just as the infamous Monday Night Wars were starting to wind down and it looked like Vince McMahon's brand was coming out on top, the WWF and THQ released WWF Wrestlemania 2000 on the Nintendo 64. Releasing in October 1999 in both Europe and North America, this marked the first Aki-developed WWF wrestling game on the platform. The game ushered in a new level of customization and gameplay that would continue to feed into further entries and continue to cement this series as some of the best wrestling games of all time. But how does WWF WrestleMania 2000 fare all these years later? Danny from the Famicast here, and this is a retro review of WWF WrestleMania 2000 on the Nintendo 64. As with other Aki-developed wrestling games, things here are pretty standard. You control the wrestler with a D-pad and can bash your opponent with a variety of blows using the B button. A initiates a grapple that can be used to deal out a number of different moves. Now, a stronger grapple, by holding the A button, gives an even more powerful arsenal of attacks. As with previous entries into the series here, controlling the wrestlers here it's pretty fun, and it takes strategy to find out the best way to wear down your opponents. Now, the better your wrestler performs, their attitude meter, formerly the spirit meter in the previous games, it fills up. And once that's maxed out, you'll be able to perform your special move, which can be done by hitting a strong grapple and then pressing the joystick. Now, this aspect of the game, the gameplay, remains solid as it gives, this feeling of momentum that you see like when wrestlers are kind of teeter-tottering in real-life matches. Now, while there are a lot of separate modes here, it should be noted that there are a number of match variations that you can choose from. Things like standard match, tag team with no tag format, battle royale, and now even a cage match. Now, I think the idea of a cage match is pretty cool, and it's nothing new to wrestling fans. I mean, here, the only way to win is to climb out of the cage. Easy in theory, but, honestly, the gameplay here is kind of uninspired in my opinion. To climb out, you have to press one of the C buttons when you're close to the cage. Now, when your character gets near the top, you're then prompted to tap a button. Doesn't really tell you exactly what it is, but it actually means the A button, not the C button that you're using to climb. And it works, but it's at the same time it can be a little bit frustrating. The ability to climb over the cage is determined by how full your attitude gauge is. If it's too low, and it could be after delivering a few special moves to your opponents, you're definitely going to find yourself getting all the way up, only to fall all the way back down because you're completely out of juice. I mean, also if your opponent is up and at 'em, they might come and shake you off the cage here too. Honestly, mashing the A button can be a little bit intense. Now, I remember a very specific time, I was playing a cage match with my little brother all the way back in 2007, and we were going at it, getting each other off of the cage and all this stuff, but, I remember getting to the top of the cage so many times and jamming that button as fast as I possibly could, and I don't know what happened, but I ended up pulling something in my neck, probably just because of my posture and just the strain of just doing that, and honestly, I was on the mend for 4 days. The cage match is a real struggle here, people. Now, there are a number of modes on offer here in WrestleMania 2000. You got Exhibition, King of the Ring, Royal Rumble, Pay-Per-View, and the Road to WrestleMania. Now, before getting into the Road to WrestleMania, King of the Ring allows you to create a tournament for up to 16 wrestlers to compete to see who will be, King of the Ring. Royal Rumble puts you in a gauntlet type of style match where as many as 30 wrestlers participate. To win, you need to avoid getting thrown outside of the ring and basically be the last man standing. Sorry, that's one of the only things I actually didn't capture footage of here, so sorry about that. But continuing on here, the pay-per-view lets you actually create your own wrestling events with multiple matches and types and all that. I mean, you can do as few as one match, and you could even put one of your created belts on the line, something like that, or you can have a completely booked card. It's up to you. I mean, it's a neat addition, but it's nothing too groundbreaking here. Now, the Road to WrestleMania mode. It's one of the deepest modes that the game has to offer. Here, you're taking your wrestler through a calendar year of the WWF, trying to win different championship belts. It can be pretty challenging, too, and it seems to me that the difficulty only gets higher the further you get into the mode, which, it makes sense. Now, one of the cool things that was introduced here were the quote-unquote story elements. So there'll be times when opponents will call you out, which kind of leads to matches or confrontations and stuff like that. I mean, it's pretty primitive by today's standards, but at the time, it was something that was pretty hard to come by in a wrestling game, or any sports games for that matter. Of course, playing with 2 or 4 friends via multiplayer is a great way to get the best bang for your buck with this game. But I will say Road to WrestleMania has a lot of replay value and can be tons of fun to go through, with all sorts of different wrestlers and all that stuff too, so pretty cool. Now, outside of Road to WrestleMania or just playing matches with your friends, WrestleMania 2000 features a pretty robust Create a Wrestler mode. Now, using the in-game assets for the visuals, you're able to create a variety of different wrestlers, complete with numerous moves, taunts, and more. You can even customize your own entrance, complete with a theme song, video, props, walking styles, and the in-ring actions. I mean, it kind of goes without saying, but this is all super, super awesome. Now, there are even moves, mannerisms, and costumes that you can use to help create classic wrestlers that aren't in the game. Now, when I first picked up my Japanese copy back in 2007, I spent hours recreating some of my favorite wrestlers from the past. Now, with numerous guides online that can help you nail every aspect to get them as close as you can to their real-life counterparts, or even kind of make something that was in the previous WCW titles on the N64, I mean, the possibilities here are nearly endless. The visuals in WrestleMania 2000 aren't bad. I mean, it's definitely a step up over the previous title in the series, WCW vs. NWO Revenge. I mean, the character models look more realistic, faces are more detailed, and the outfits are a bit more varied. Now, while the game still retains the somewhat disjointed, polygonal look of previous titles, WrestleMania 2000 does look just better overall. Clipping still is an issue in the game, as you'll see characters' arms, legs, and stuff like that go through the ropes, other wrestlers, and more. Now, does this ruin the experience? Not at all. Now, perhaps one of the best additions to WrestleMania 2000 has got to do with character entrances. This time around, the actual theme songs are featured, as well as full entrances to the ring. So, I mean, you can see them coming out of the back, then you can see them walk all the way down to the ring, and then get in and do some kind of a taunt. And, honestly, I think they did just a bang-up job with this aspect of the game. It's always awesome to see some of your favorite wrestlers make their way down to the ring, doing their signature, at the time at least, gestures and actions. I mean, of course, being on the N64, the quality of the music isn't too great. I mean, the songs themselves are kind of like shortened and sometimes looped versions of the actual songs. And I don't even know if I want to say music videos, but if you want to say videos that are playing on the Titantron are pretty low quality and only contain a few frames from the actual video. I mean, even with that said, all these years later, there is still a certain charm to it. Now for the Japan connection, something I like to try to do with all of my videos, especially with retro type of stuff. So, WrestleMania 2000 was released in Japan on September 15th, 2000, nearly a year after it hit shelves in the West. Not only that, but earlier in 2000, the true sequel to Virtual Pro Wrestling 64 also arrived on shelves in January in Japan. So, facing the stiff competition on that front, and the fact that the WWF probably didn't have the same type of recognition as Japanese wrestlers, WrestleMania 2000 seemed kind of like a half-hearted release. I mean, hell, even the Japanese version of the game is about in English 95% of the time, with Japanese only coming up into play when it came to like saving data. Even the Create a Wrestler section, which has a lot of moves written out in English. I mean, I can't even imagine what little kids that might have gotten this game would even have thought back in the day, but I mean, this wasn't even translated either. Now, on the collector side of thing, when it comes to picking up this game complete, that's a bit tough. I mean, as of right now, I've actually never seen a copy, like a complete copy in person. And I've only seen a few like up for sale online. Now, the cart here is also very different from the Western releases. This one is gray and sports some of the more prominent wrestlers on the cover, as you can kind of see here. The box is similar to the cart, which features, kind of a similar look to what you can find on the cart label there too. WWF Wrestlemania 2000 still holds up pretty well to this day. I mean, it captures the atmosphere of the WWF at the time perfectly and provides gamers with a good way to control their favorite grapplers. The visuals, even at the time, while better than previous Aki titles, were a bit of a letdown when compared to other WWF games on the platform, like WWF Attitude from Acclaim. I mean, still though, overall performance, awesome controls, extensive customization, and the ability to play some of the biggest names in professional wrestling, I mean, all of this is just amazing. No matter what region you pick this game up in, it definitely needs to be part of your collection. As always, thanks for checking out this video. If you like what you see, please feel free to give us a like. If you're new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe. We've got tons of podcasts, video reviews, special videos, and a whole lot more. Again, this is Danny from the Famicast. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later.